Today, I have a very special guest for you, Dr. Willie Soon. He was on Tucker Carlson earlier this year. Maybe you saw that interview. This man is a genius. He's an astrophysicist. He worked at Harvard for years and years. He makes many people feel subpar when it comes to intellect. He has so much to share and so much to impart on climate and masks and COVID and the vaccine and so much valuable information. I really hope you enjoyed this episode. Please welcome Dr. Willie Soon. Hi.
Hello, hello.
I'm so excited that you're here. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm trying something different today, so it's going to be a little interesting because I'm talking to you on Zoom, but I'm using my phone as well, so it's a little different setup.
Okay.
Anyhow. Beautiful, beautiful background there. You're at the beach.
Yes. I think my background is very bad, so use this. It's okay, yes?
Yeah, it's great. It's great.
Okay.
Welcome.
Oh,
Willie,
thank you.
Dr.
I saw a lot of your video on YouTube, but I never really watched any. I watched one or two, yeah. On relationship, on all sorts of counseling. You're very good.
Oh, thank you. Well, and I just started a new channel that's
Yeah,
more talking about politics and things like that.
that's good.
So yeah, because it's gotten so crazy, right? It's just gotten
No. Plus that, I think you're a keen observer of human nature, so you
oh,
sort of figure out a lot of strange thing about human nature.
I don't know what just happened.
A,
Anyway,
a lot of my friends recommend using StreamYard. I think they say StreamYard, you pay a little service and then they really are a very good recording device for interview online.
I have StreamYard. Should we
Oh,
switch over real quick? Should I
no,
send you?
unfortunately, I don't have I didn't download anything yet, so I'm not ready.
Okay, it's
Sorry.
fine. Yeah, well, in the future, StreamYard, and we'll see how it goes. But I just wanted to talk to you. Yeah, I started a new channel, the
That-
Hutcheson House, because I wanted to be able to talk about politics and all this crazy stuff. I always used to shy away from that because I tried to be very diplomatic, but now it's like
Yes,
coming into our lives so much we can't avoid it. It's
yes. You can politely agree to disagree and speak carefully and accurately. But of course, they really ban you. If you're not ready, just don't do it because I've been through a lot of stuff like this. They will really get rid of your ability to make any income and things like that. Then that's terrible for a lot of people. Yeah.
well, it's
So
really bad. But what's been so interesting and the reason why I braved up a bit is because I feel like everything's been stripped away anyhow. And so
well, yeah, in some sense, yes, indeed, yeah.
yeah, it's like since I was trying to be so polite and not say anything, and in catering to people who seemingly hate America. I don't know what it is. And then
Yeah. They hate America. They hate God. They hate all kinds of things. They hate family. They hate the fact that there is man and woman. They hate science. They just want to really doing all sorts of destructive things, and it's very unhealthy. Obviously, that's why it's like people say, once Trump win, it'll be increasing cases of mental problems. Yeah, mental health issues. They
well,
are beginning to show a lot of signs of those things. Yeah, those guys. You can see they're so deranged.
it's really bad. And
Yes.
that's what it hit me today, actually. I go, wait a minute. I just had a light bulb go off and I thought, the reason why they keep saying there's going to be a threat to democracy, which we know it's a republic anyhow, but nonetheless,
Right.
by definition, the democracy, right, is supposed to be for the people, a government.
Right.
But I think what it is because they're going to threaten. They think if Trump wins, which he did, they're going to threaten our
Yes,
freedom.
it's all this psychological projection. It's so clear. I mean, that's why the voter, most people, most average American who has to earn an income and living can smell it from a million miles away.
I know. And so that's why I just was so thank you for taking this time. We won't take up too much time. I know you're a busy, busy
Yes,
man.
yes, yes. No, it's okay. But anything you want to talk about, I think my strength is always science. So it's maybe talk a bit about science and but I've been around the rodeo many times, obviously, and it was your mom that and father yeah, that actually introduced me to the rodeo business. So
Yes. Tell me a little bit how I want to talk to you about science, but also it just occurred to me. I know my mom and Chuck, my stepdad,
Chuck, yeah.
have been very interested in the science because they're agriculture and they're farming.
Oh yeah, they started way early. I mean, 2008, I think 2007 or 2008 when Al Gore was very hot. It was a phone call from your mom that make the connection. And then one time they made me go along with this guy. I forget now. This guy from Texas, Austin, one of this rodeo clown. I was on a show with rodeo clown, starting with John Denver song. The opening song. Yeah, it was like really hot. I was like getting very motivated, so I started to dancing on stage.
So
They made me do the thing that I didn't know I have it in me. I really could be a movie star.
you could be actually. And I saw you on Tucker, by the way, and you did great on Tucker
Oh
Carlson.
yeah, it was a very interesting interview. I mean, it's just to share the whole truth is that nothing was pre-scripted, nothing. He didn't tell me nothing. Just come on by and just have a little conversation. In fact, once it passed about 45, 50 minutes, I kind of cut it off, because I don't want to sound too boring. Because
No.
he wants to go into many areas. The guy know how to interview. He like make you go, even God, even religion, even mathematics, the beauty of physics, and then this and that. Al Gore, John Kerry. He had a particular fondness on John Kerry, right? I call John Kerry the average D student. Those are the well-known average D students who have a lot of ambition. Oh, climate change, very simple, very basic physics. Yeah, yeah, sure
Well,
thing.
it's funny to me because I'm no astrophysicist, obviously. But what's interesting to me is that a lot of these ideas, it feels like I'm in some kind of middle school science class and people are just, that's my idea. And it's like, well, that seems like a good idea, but we're not there yet. Right. Like, for
Right.
instance, like with the electric cars, like wanting everybody to have electric cars. And Trump said
Yes.
a million times, our grid will shut down. We can't, right? And then other reasons we
Not only
can't.
that, we don't have the rare earth mineral to build any of these batteries. I mean, that's one little thing, right? And then, if it's basic science, the most obvious thing about carbon dioxide is that they want to ignore is the gas of life. It makes all the plant life and even the ocean creatures are all will be much more healthy. They are starving for CO2. That is the truth. And then they turn around, they make into another scary topic, ocean acidification, language. They rob the language, they rob the science, they rob everything. And then we just keep playing along and giving every day we're playing defensive. But we couldn't even prevail through basic kind of common sense thing. And that's why it's very tragic in some sense. In some sense, but there's still a lot of fighter like your mom and your stepdad, Chuck and Ronnie. These two are the one that grassroots. You see, they really make me very happy because I sit around. In fact, I would give your mom the credit in the sense that she is probably the first one from completely outside the field. People calling me up, found my phone, on my office phone, and we ended up talking. The first chat, I think it was a long one. It was an hour at least because I have never spoken to somebody from outside who's so curious and wanted to ask me questions. I mean, I'm a scientist already by that time at the Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics for 2007. So that's more than 17, 18 years, right? No one ever called me up. I mean, the first one is Ronnie. Yeah, okay. I think she saw me in one of the video. I think she saw me in one of the video. That's why she called me. Yeah, I remember because I was appearing in one of these what you call unstoppable global warming. I remember that was an educational project from this Free to Choose Foundation in Erie, Pennsylvania. So they invited me to be on that show to do this somewhat educational film to talk about climate change, global warming, why climate change, and things like that, right? I think your mom saw this video, immediately was very excited. Oh, this is the person. So she called me up. So then the rest is history. It's been like that for a very long time. So I mean, she's always on my emailing list, right? So I'll bother everybody. I send out 20 emails a day. So
Well, so tell me though, that's what I'm so curious about. So it's interesting that my mom called you. That's so how my mom is. I love it.
right,
But
right.
do why aren't there more conversations with scientists such as yourself? I always hear from the eighth grade D class scientists, you know, the
Yeah.
adult scientists who know nothing about science. 99.9% of scientists say
Right,
that
right.
this is climate change and you should do this. How come we never hear, hardly, we do sometimes, but from people like you? What is
I
the
don't know. There's well, clearly the media already very much bought into this. So there's no free press in the sense of large media are always into censorship and then being a mouthpiece of some paid thing, just like I don't want to mention the topic that can get you in trouble, the pharmacy kind of people. Those guys have a huge amount of money, so don't go there because I also work on COVID-19. But anyway, let's stick to climate. It's mainly because of that. They were able to control. They need the narrative. They have to control the narrative. And it's been very successful campaign by them, obviously. And then people from our side who base from me, it's very simple. It's about science, it's about the truth. I always tell Al Gore, in fact, I have confrontation with Al Gore too, so I can tell you a bit about that. With Al Gore, it's like I tell Al Gore, you think you can run faster than me? If it's the truth that this carbon dioxide is so bad, I'll be the first guy right in front of the line telling that CO2 is bad. But it's not the truth. It's not even close, right? In fact, cutting carbon emission, it's a very dangerous proposition. The system, the earth system, if you understand it truthfully and wholly, complete, with the full appreciation for life, not only for the human life, or even the insects, for the whole ecology, require much more CO2, and we cannot do that. It's not so simple for us to say that, okay, you cut down CO2 to do what exactly? I have no idea what they're trying to do because they've been making that false premises. Every of their excuse, every of the scary scenario are all coming from what you call computer climate games, really, essentially. It's like a game, right? You give an instruction for the climate model to do this, do that, right? But what if your instructions are wrong because we don't understand the whole system very well? That's part of the problem. And then the most obvious thing is, of course, the most important, what you call energy input to the system is actually the sun's energy. 99.99% of all the energy that makes the wind move, ocean current, wave, anything, it's all basically directly converted energy from the sun. There is no intrinsic energy from the earth itself. The earth barely, from radioactive decay, give a little energy, but those are very tiny amount. Actually, that number is been measured. You see, science is so beautiful in the way that we're not talking. We're not just talking. When I say 0.99, I didn't stop 9999. That would be exaggeration. But it's about the third or fourth digit. We've been measured. We already have done that. That's a physics experiment. It has been done. Okay. Unfortunately, the guy that did the measurement, he also got censored in 2022. It's a famous guy from Italy. They did the work in the underground in Gran Sasso in Italy. They did all this, what they call neutrino measurement. So they did a very sophisticated measurement. But he beginning to be curious about this global warming business. So he started to publish a paper in 2022 in one of those journal of physics on climate. And his conclusion is very similar like mine, obviously, independently. I didn't even know him until he got censored. And then he got censored. Then I check out who is this guy. It turns out that he have done this measurement, this important measurement. You see, these are physicists, but they look into this. They can understand numbers. They can understand a lot of this basic science, so-called. Not John Kerry, obviously. John Kerry doesn't even know anything. He doesn't, I don't know, maybe he know A, B, C, D, E till Z. That's all he know, the alphabets. But he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand how physics, I mean, the word physics is highly abused kind of word. They talk like they understand, but they don't. These are very embarrassing people. That's why I can only kindly call them average D student, right? They can barely pass anything. I mean, if we were, they're talking nonsense, because you see, they always have a way to simplify the science. Oh, you don't understand. It's too complex. It's too complex. Al Gore always put it like this. Oh, you know the CO2 curve and the temperature curve, you know what? They go up and down. That's all you need to know. But Al Gore forget to tell you the most important thing when he do that in his film is that every time when you see the temperature curve and the CO2 curve going in together, it was always the temperature curve that rises first and then the carbon dioxide curve follow. That already break the most important aspect of science, which is causality. You see, effect cannot cause the cause, right? Its effect is an effect. It's the cause is the temperature that caused the carbon dioxide to change. Now they want to reverse it around. They say it's the carbon dioxide that's causing the temperature to change. Do you understand that? It's like lung cancer causes cigarette smoking. Not smoking causes lung cancer. That is how this average D student are so good at manipulating science, right? They actually have no moral soul in them because they knew a lot of this. A lot of these people has been warned. People always take them to the side, explain to them, but they never back their position. That's why the narrative and all this kind of agenda is so important. You know, for them it's so important, it's quintessential because it's never about the truth. Because you can ask them, what would it take for you to change your mind? Obviously, they say no, nothing. I would say I would change my mind if you have the evidence, the proper evidence, not the cheating kind, right? Not the type that cheat. You know what I mean? I was able to. We work a lot. I mean, just about every aspect of the question on carbon dioxide, climate change, and CO2 and sun. I have studied them over now 34 years at least. That's a long time and a very dedicated. I'm a very dedicated scientist in the sense that I really spend a lot of time understanding something before you say something. You know what I mean? But another aspect of the things that I do that do very well is basically you cannot just talk. In science, you have to kind of write out your paper, you know, scientific reasoning. So it's like a long essay. You know? You write out with evidence, with data, and you show that. So which means I'm published. You know, like I publish a lot of papers. A lot of papers are a bit difficult to explain to laymen, but it's not. The basic point is always very simple. The technical part is nothing. That's why they always try to confuse you because it's a form of scientism, right? Technocracy. They're trying to use a lot of this thing to confuse people. But the bottom line is truly simple. It's all a bit of common sense, a bit of following the method, using the right data. If you stick to the principle, that's why science is so easy in some sense because it's the clearest one. No one can hide evidence, and those guys are hiding evidence, this and that. Al Gore using language, obviously, right? They use language. Oh, you don't need to worry about what different. All you need to know is that carbon dioxide go up and temperature go up. You see the trick, the word used, they don't say temperature go up. He used carbon dioxide go up, temperature go up to make it look like one thing is causing the other, right? And he does a lot of that. Not only that, in, let me see, 2008, yeah, you know, the producer for An Inconvenient Truth, the Al Gore producer, by the name of Laurie David, the husband is very famous, former husband, I think they divorced. This guy that in Seinfeld or whatever, right? She wrote a textbook for children. Okay, let's say grade. They say it's aimed for 8 years old to like maybe 16 or 17. They wrote a book, okay, to educate students. In that book, you cannot believe how bad luck for them. Because that day I remember very well because I bring my little son, my young son, Benjamin, me and him just went to the bookstore. And then I saw this book. And it was so bad luck. That was the day the book come out in the bookstore, right? So I open up, I look, interesting. And then they have a flap open up a curve where they show this temperature and CO2 curve, right? Very interesting. I should look at that. Uh-oh. Immediately, I take out my old flip phone. At that time, still flip phone. I call up my friend. Yo, you want to pay for this book? I refuse to pay for this book, but I think I found something really bad on this book. Then we can write something about it. You pay for this book? I buy the book, then I'll write it up for you. I explain. You know what they did in the book? You know that I told you it is a scientific fact that every time you measure the temperature and CO2 curve, it's always the temperature rise first, right? Warm up, and then the CO2 follow because it's the ocean degassing, putting out more carbon dioxide, not the other way around, right? It's actually up to the difference. If you want to know, it's up to like say 500 to 1500 years. So 1500 years in those time scale, glacial scale. You know what they did? To make their language more persuasive, and then they say you flip this to look at the curve, they actually switch the graph. They switch the graph to make the CO2 temperature curve become CO2, and then they switch the graph. Knowingly. Let me say why I say, why I know that? Because I tried to confront them. I wrote to the book publisher. I wrote to the scientists that they acknowledged by the name of Professor Eric Wolf from British Antarctic Survey. They refused to back down. By the way, Professor Eric Wolf is the person that kind of produced this information because they went to the Antarctic ice core to drill the ice core and then to try to study the temperature and the atmospheric air content, the CO2. This is how manipulative these people are. It's so strange, man. I mean, not only that, I caught them. It was really weird. But it was bad luck for him because the first day when the book came out, I already saw it. So I started to spread around using some of my friends. If the world to know, I mean, they would have to. You know what happened earlier? I wrote to them. They refused to change the thing. They refused to correct the record. I even have the wording from them. The wording from them is that this guy, they hire another hired gun by the name of Michael Oppenheimer. He's a chemist. He has a PhD from University of Chicago in chemistry. He was a postdoc at my center, by the way, short time, for 2 years, 3 years. I ended up being a staff position, so I stayed longer. And then he became the environmental defense chief scientist, this guy, Michael Oppenheimer. Then he became professor at Princeton, but not professor of physics or chemistry, professor of government. It's very weird evolution because they are not good in science. That's the point, Leah. Do you understand what I mean? These are all bluffing people using their title and their prestige. Oh, I'm a PhD from chemistry from University of Chicago. I'm so smart. You, Leah, you shut the hell up. You don't say nothing because you know why? You don't know science. I know science. This is how they do to people. They bully. These are all the bullies. And I hate bullies. I can tell you, most of us normal people hate bullies. Bullies should not get away with. This is part of the reason why they hate me so much. Because, hey, bullies, hello. In fact, I hope they listen to this. You know what I'm saying?
But what is their end game? Like, what is it that they want? They want to depopulate? I don't get what the end game is in having us be scared to just live. I mean, you can't even say in Colorado, I'll go out and say, oh, when it's a nice day, oh, it's a beautiful day. And someone will go, oh, it's too bad it's climate change. It's like, what?
Yeah.
I don't understand. And like you said, what is the temperature? I loved that question when you said that many times. What is the temperature that they want?
The best temperature, yeah. What is the ideal? I mean, no one knows. I mean, it's one of those things. I mean, yes, the end game is pretty simple because these people want to control the narrative. They want to control what energy, what form of energy we could use. They basically hate human. That's one thing. They want to control population, right? Because ultimately they really use a good word called sustainability. Sustainable was a very good word before. But the way they use it is totally change the language and meaning again, right? That is one of the things. I mean, global warming actually is a good word, right? But because now global warming is not, because the globe is not warm evenly everywhere, they call it climate change. And then after climate change is too trivial because every climate, there's no unchanging climate. Climate always changing. Then they change it to something else. You know, right? They have many names. There's about 6, 7 names, right? They call it, I don't know. There are a few of those that is very irritating, actually. They call it climate disruption. They call it, what do they call? Global boiling. That was from that one is from the UN chief, one of those guys. Global boiling. Oh, very vivid picture. You know what I mean? Boiling. Many more things like this. It's really crazy. I mean, this is how I think a submissive society. By the way, we are very fortunate to live in this nation called United States of America. I have to tell you, I felt sorry for the rest of the world because most of them don't have even ability to speak out or say things that I do. Therefore, I truly appreciate this privilege. That's part of the reason why I become the American citizen. And I'm so honored and so proud to be able to do this. Because a guy like me, if I were to speak out where I came from, Malaysia, I'll be in jail already many times. Really bad news.
Well, what about, and I respect what you do so very much, but what about the censorship that's happening in the States? I mean, could you imagine that this would even happen here? I'm shocked by this.
No, no, no. The censorship is very clear. This is why now all the major media, they're all failing, right? That's why the alternative forum like yourself, this kind of podcast, people are interested in long, truthful conversation. The people are interested in the content. Why is all changed? Because what they propose as new is not news. It's manipulated information, a particular narrative. That's why they use this stupid phrase, right? The 97, 99% that you say is consensus. I mean, consensus. I mean, the famous thing was Michael Crichton says that, if it's consensus, it's not science. If it's science, it's not consensus, period. That's it, right? I'm very proud, by the way. I also have a little in with Michael Crichton. We are the one that encouraged him to come out to the forefront. He was always behind the scene because of Hollywood, right? Hollywood, so he couldn't produce himself until he did that book, State of Fear, right? And where he researched the book very, very well. He even went to NASA Goddard Institute for Space Study, in New York City, where they filmed Seinfeld. The office is up there. He went there for 2 weeks just to observe them. And those guys felt so proud that maybe Michael Crichton is going to tell their story, make them famous. But Michael Crichton hit them with the truth bomb. You know what I mean? The guy is smart. The guy has a MD, PhD from Harvard, and then he went to Cambridge. And those guys think that Michael Crichton, he come visit us, so he's gonna give us. But Michael Crichton has been getting information, talking to myself and my colleague. I don't know him directly, but we have a conversation with him. Really, my colleague Sally Badunas at Harvard Smithsonian Center for Astrophysics. So we've been encouraging him. In fact, we were the one that encouraged him to testify in the U.S. Senate. He did that. Only one time. The second time, everybody asked us to try to ask him again. No, we're not doing, because he said, no, this is a religion and everybody is entitled to their form of belief. So that's, you know what I mean? Because he said that this climate science business turned into a form of religion and it's very difficult to tackle. It's very personal for them. Well, they're becoming.
I was just gonna say, like, I don't know. Does it look like I'm facing back to you, by the way? Because I'm looking at you, but then I see in the monitor it looks like I'm looking away. Does it look like I'm looking?
No, you're not. You're not. You're not. You're not.
I'm not looking at you.
No, you are. You are.
Oh,
right?
I am. Okay, good. Because
Yeah,
in
yeah,
my
yeah.
monitor it looks like I'm turned back to you. I'm like,
No,
oh my
I
God.
did not. I don't know. It seems fine to me.
It's
Yeah.
fine. Okay. So, like the ladies on The View, I don't know if you ever watched that show. It's absolutely absurd. But they were just making fun of RFK Jr. They make fun of anybody, right? But they're
Yeah,
like,
yeah. Except themselves.
Says, some things about climate change and he's anti-vax and all this. And so
Right.
I wanted, and they think they're scientists, Joy Behar and all these people. I mean, it's just absurd. And they have no curiosity for the
Yeah.
truth. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, RFK Jr. has said he's not anti-vax. He just feels that some of these are way too much and that we need to look at the science. So I'm curious what your perspective as a scientist is on the vaccinations and possibly COVID-19 and all of that.
Okay. Yeah, well.
Is that too hard to get into?
No, it's fine. It's fine. I can tell you my opinion on RFK Jr. Because I also come a long way. At my career, I'm a very curious person, which means I like to be a scientist as a free scientist because I don't stick to any area. I do kind of research many things. So I have done a lot of work on many other areas. I think one of the areas that I did was also about the thing called mercury. And that's why I'm beginning to learn more about, back then, that was about 2003 onwards. I've been doing that consistently, by the way. So I know what RK background is. He's a very smart guy. He clearly have a lot of interesting thing. Ultimately, he's still a lawyer. And I don't think that he can really master the science, but good enough. Okay. He probably have good advisor from time to time. But some of his opinion are not really good. But he's been changing. He's been changing his view. I like people that can change their view when they're wrong, when they realize. You see, you notice that he was very, very hot on CO2 causing global warming. He was hot. He was hot back then. They were going on parade, trying to put some of us in jail. He basically talked to some of us should be tried in the Hague, for crime against humanity. He used a lot of this hot word back then. I understand since he is somewhat of a politician, let it be, right? Politicians are allowed to say that, but I cannot say that. I just cannot. You got to take it back. You got to say that I take it back. So I hope he declared that. Okay, that would be very helpful to kind of have some kind of mutual respect and understanding. But he's been very good on the forefront about processed food, which is very good. The vaccine issue, I am very concerned myself. Yes, because I've done a lot of research. By the way, my little group is called Center for Environmental Research and Earth Sciences. So it's called series-science.com. There's a lot of information. We are a team of scientists. Very small group, very small money. We all survive by donation, but I'm trying to tell you that we have done research on COVID-19 from many aspects. Of course, COVID-19 is just not just one little thing about virus or things like that. We study many aspects of this problem, right? One is about, the what they call the initial stage, when masking and all that, looking at all the evidence, all this stuff, they're clearly not there, right? So the government has failed us for sure. FDA, CDC are just crazy as hell. I mean, those people, they all should go to jail as far as I'm concerned, because they're doing a lot of harm to society. They're doing a lot of harm to children. They're
Sorry to interrupt you. I just want to know too what you with Dr. Fauci, what you think of him and his.
Oh, he's bad. He is so bad. He is so bad that his story started during the HIV/AIDS virus time. Yeah. And by the way, I also have befriended during my scientific career a very well-known character by the name of Karimulis. If you have not heard of Karimulis, he actually was awarded the Nobel Prize in Chemistry in, I think, 1993. Okay. And because of invention of this Xerox machine for DNA, it's called the polymerase chain reaction. So invented one of these things. And he hated Fauci. He knew Fauci. In fact, I felt very sad. He died all of a sudden around October or September of 2019, just before the virus. There was some conspiracy stuff talking about. By the way, I am not into all this conspiracy, but a lot of this so-called conspiracy are actually reality. So I kind of reluctant to believe that also. Some of the things are factual. You know what I mean, right? So,
what are the actual things you would like people to really know about it?
Well, there are many aspects of things. Like the problem in vaccine, right? It's not quote unquote the vaccine itself. It's always the preservative, right? The adjuvant, the material that do to try to preserve so you can have multiple shot. How we wish that we can have a system in which we can deliver proper vaccine, right? To trigger the immune response by giving us the stuff without the worry about this. These are all practical problems. In principle, it's such a great thing, but it's always in practice that it fails. Okay. And then, of course, some of the lucky few, a lot of this is a bit of a statistical distribution, isn't it? Right? Some people get it, some people don't. That's why in medical science, health sciences, one of the most difficult things that we should learn to, by the way, there's a new movement. It's been a movement like that for a long time, ever since we started a thing called Human Genome Project, where we want to understand the genome in human being. Which means then, if you really do, then you can go down to individual person treatment. Instead of depending on the statistics, this epidemiology that is so crazy, it's out of control because there's so many variables that you cannot control, right? Some people are genetically susceptible to certain things. That's why a lot of this response, let's say Down syndrome and a bunch of this that probably that related to this adjuvant, this particular chemical in the preservative for this vaccine shots, right? So these are the explanation. So there are good and bad. You know what I mean? I'm not totally anti-vaccine, but by now I kind of tend to distrust because even our processing center, there are already, you may not, I mean, there are so many cases now I am of a big concern in the sense that our CDC, our FDA are not doing their job at all. Because the point is that even in the processing center, right? Or even our diagnostic test people, like you want to test your urine, your blood for chemical element, right? sometimes you get some really shitty result because those guys in their sample preparation, we don't know what they did. They're on drugs or do something. That's why I'm saying no quality control. You understand now? Some of the problem in the vaccine is during the production line that you have problem like that. Believe me, I hang around so many good people. One of my friend, one of my hero, his name is Arthur Robinson from Oregon Science Institute of Science and Medicine. In 1970s, he was already able to produce, let's say, machine, like you give a sample of your urine, of your blood. I can analyze, let's say 10,000 different chemical content in it. Well, he know how to make those machine, right? And you want to know how cynical, how crazy the world is? That was 1970s. And then when he wants to sell it to NIH and all these places, they were telling him, no, that's not good. Can you give me a machine that can analyze 1 or 2 or 5 chemical at the same time? Do you see how bad things are? He said, F you, I'm not doing that. I'm a scientist. That's the way to go, isn't it? But it's so sad. There will be some scientists that are willing to do that. Sell their damn soul for this money, right? That is so ugly. This is what I mean. I hate it so much that every time we have the best science, we never reach the optimal state. If I can make a machine like 100,000, why don't we use that? Instead of they say, no, we have to generate the machine. You see, this is the people that is so insecure in their life, I think. So it's a pity. Human soul that is so insecure, doesn't believe in goodness of people. Even if I do nothing, I felt feeling the air, breathing is better than falling down from the coconut tree. Just kidding. But it's so crazy. Why the world become like this, I don't know. I cannot explain, but I'm just telling you there's so many dark and bad things in science like this. And I hate it so much. That's why people like Fauci, in my view, people say that he have done something in the past, but these people are third-rate people to me, third-rate scientists. They have no soul, you know what I mean? I don't want to punish him. I have no personal vendetta, but he probably had caused death to so many people that maybe some accountability will be a good idea, because you know why? We need, it's a bit a way to make it more public. So somebody should be permanently punished for some problem like this. He personally have done a lot of damage. He pushed for the cocktail for the AIDS thing. They pushed so many cocktails. They killed so many of these gay people, really. They actually ended up killing people. That's why RFK is researched that very well. He supposedly say a lot of that in the book. I have to say, I didn't read his book. I don't read books like this. By the way, I'm not interested in popular book. I'm interested in science, the exact science. Just kidding. So my free time is only reading scientific papers. So don't ask me to read any books. I don't read books. But the idea is that, this guy has caused a lot of damage to a lot of people, ruined a lot of people's life. Maybe somebody ought to be accounted, like hold him accountable for once. So I felt
him, which I'm like, why would he have to pardon him for what if he didn't do?
I know, yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, that is another one of those very sad thing. I mean, I don't know if you saw the news, but I think just 2 days ago, it's after the Hunter Biden thing, he actually pardoned about 1,500 people straight, right? I don't know, just all kinds of people, including one of these Chinese national. I don't know, maybe the Chinese pay him, the CCP people pay him to let this guy off with about 40,000 pedo kind of pictures in his computer, that kind of people. And then why would you want to pardon him? What did he do for America? Why does he deserve a pardon? I don't understand that at all. No. They are really very not good people. I mean, the way you do this is just not right. I'm not making too much judgment because ultimately God should judge them. But a lot of this on the surface level is just intolerable. I cannot take this. I mean, nonsense.
What do you think was because I noticed he was lying early on, because all that I started paying attention. He says no masks, and then he says masks. Right. I see people still wearing masks.
Yeah.
What is your view on the science about masks?
It just doesn't make sense. The whole thing doesn't make sense. Please understand the size of even a bacteria or the size of a virus. It's very small. I would say sub-micron if you use the number, right? Sub-micron is smaller than a micron, which is 10 to the minus 6 meter. Nano is 10 to the minus 9. Think about the best mask we have. Think about the individual whole of it. Just think like that. Logically, it just doesn't make sense. breathe in, breathe out, and it causes so much oxygen starvation. Actually, it's a very damaging thing to yourself. That's why it's not very good. You see that people that wear masks, they tend to have, seems to be that they seems to be a bit too pale because they don't have sufficient oxygen. Right? It's so obvious. No, those things from the very beginning was already known to be wrong, because mass study has a lot of what you call multiple experiment and kind of social study. We have done a lot of that. There was enough data to tell that from day one, those distancings and those masking are all fake. Okay. And then all this lockdown is insane. That one is insane. Not only that, you know, the most beautiful thing was this Jay Bhattacharya people, right? Jay Bhattacharya, the professor from Stanford, that now become nominated to be the NIH director. Yeah, he was the one that started this, the Great Barrington Declaration, that's signed by a lot of people, including me. And those things are good things to exactly talk about the problem. The lockdown and all that's a very bad idea, extremely bad idea. It causes more social harm. Not only that, the idea that when we face with such a form of virus, the most important thing is to let the immune system be able to get ready and recognize it, which means the faster we all get infected, the better. In that sense, that is well-known public health issue in some sense. I also don't believe in the notion of public health, by the way, because that's what I just try to allude you to, the what you call, if the science is done right, we should go towards individual private health, target according to your genetic susceptibility. Okay, that will be the ultimate unleash of the scientific knowledge and information. Okay.
Yes, thank you. That's what I say, because we're all different. I mean, we all have different reactions to things. And
very different. Allergy and things like that. It's all different. It's really, really does. That's why there's this movement, but it started long ago when people started those things, right? I mean, but now we are back away from all this thing again. We're ever perpetually controlled by the pharmacological kind of industry, right? I've been telling people, yeah, we already can create a battery that can last 100 years, but nobody wants to sell Duracell that lasts 100 years. Because you know why? They worry about no job, no money. I tell you, forget about all this worry, man. Just do and then go forward. We have so many more things, right? Just like the NVIDIA chip, that no one can anticipate that we would need this chip. But now this chip will be so useful for what you call AIs and all that, right? I mean, the guy, this Jason Huang guy is very smart. This Anson Huang or whatever his name is, right? The NVIDIA boss. He really took all the risks and all the heat to invest. So when he become rich now, he deserve it, because this guy have the vision, persistency to work on the chip, GPU, right? Graphic processing unit, to really have that done. And not only for computer game. In the beginning, it looked like a naive, stupid thing, like, hey, just gamer, this and that. No. It has some use for computing, for all kinds of stuff, right? Now it's the top selling stock, whatever, this guy, right? So in some sense, it is only where our imagination can go. Our human potential is just nowhere near. We are constantly being pulled down by all these dark forces, obviously. So not doing the right thing. That's the whole problem, right? Yeah, it's very sad. No, from health-wise, from food-wise. I mean, food, yes, we do need to quote-unquote mass produce, but a lot of the food can be done very nicely, right? I mean, your mom and dad are essentially doing those things, the cow people, the cattle people, right? Completely robbed by the industry, this and that. By the way, one time they set me up for a talk in Idaho. It was very funny because it's a cattle rancher. I went with this guy who met with me. We went to the buffet, and then he took a piece of chicken. He said, "Please don't tell nobody I'm eating chicken." Oh, no problem, no problem. I won't tell. Anyway, I mean, very interesting people through Ronnie. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it was amazing. I get to go to talk to all these cowboy and ranchers. It's very interesting. No, they are the down-to-earth people. I tell you, I always think that America, we will die if it depends on the coastal people. It's the middle America, man. It's the life and soul of America. These are people live with the ground, the land. It's our land. It's the land that we give it. And then people that doesn't know where food come from, it's just ridiculous. All this urban dweller is just very dangerous. The more they go about this, the more dangerous they become. And then they just sit in the air condition issuing command here and there. You know what I mean? The people that just constantly dictating everybody's life without knowing where everything come from. want to control how we farm, want to control what we use, fertilizer or no fertilizer, this and that, all kinds of nonsense. Shut the hell up, man. I mean, really too much. I mean, I don't know. Well, there's a way out. America, we have a way out. Maybe with Trump coming in, I don't want to rely on politicians to solve any problem because ultimately it's our responsibility. That's a very important reminder. But it does help, obviously, if we set the right incentive, right? I mean, the guy is not exactly an idiot, you know. He already say if you do more than $1 billion, we will have less red tape in terms of our pros, approving your project, this and that, right? If you invest enough. And that's a way to stimulate growth, right? And then people don't understand. It's always playing the politics of envy, right? It's actually the big industry, the big company is allowing employment, this and that, a fulfilled kind of job. You know what I mean? If you do the right thing. Not everybody can be a CEO. Not everybody can be Jensen Huang or whatever, this guy that can create this. But we're fine. I'm fine, even myself, just to be a normal people, studying and enjoying my life and then taking care of my kids and whatever I have to do. But it's nonsense, to have them dictating every single level of things. You cannot do this, cannot do that, all kinds of things. Yeah, the COVID example, I think, awakened a lot of people. Hopefully, they were beginning to see that the climate change thing is also big time bullshit. It's bad. The climate change thing has been wrong from the very beginning, but it's very difficult because they keep using the picture to scare people. Let me give a most recent example because a friend of mine just asked me this question because people say, oh, global warming, you melt this permafrost. Permafrost are this frozen ground in the high Arctic, right? The ground that basically with all kinds of material, organic material, what have you, right? And then frozen, and then they say, oh, when you global warming, you're going to melt all of these things and this and that. They are all very good in talking like this. When you talk like that, okay, yeah, of course it's scary. No, like they make everything is so like, if you keep doing this, inevitable. They focus your mind. Focus your mind on that little thing. Let you imagine that you have a balloon that you fill up and you just need to use a needle is gonna pop. But unfortunately, reality is that the needle was not there, the balloon is not there. Because the actual data shows that how much little that we don't know about permafrost. Because the idea is that they want to say the permafrost, when they melted, you're going to emit more methane, right? Methane and carbon dioxide, so it causes even more problem. But we have data, like when you look at the data, okay, let's say 1.5 million years, I just saw one data coming from Canada, show that clearly that we have measured temperature. We can also measure, let's say roughly, how much carbon dioxide or methane content in the air. But we never see during this time, because in the past 1.5 million years, there are so many times that it was warmer than today. Do you understand? So if the scenario they propose is true, then in the past, don't you think that we should see very high CO2 and all that stuff? But it's not showing that. That tells you how much we don't know about the permafrost. And these are people who study the permafrost itself that show those things. So that tells you that it's already nonsense, right? And then one more thing that is very, very good that because I like this one because I come up with the thing myself, I check it. It is one of those things that sometimes, when you can figure this out, it's kind of give you a lot of comfort. It's the idea of ozone hole. You must have heard about ozone hole, right? Ozone hole started because they say that, oh, we humans have used a refrigerator. We have used our hairspray, right? We watch a lot of this hairspray commercial and all that stuff. Then you create this gas called CFC, chlorofluorocarbon. Okay. And they say because we release this chlorine, right? And fluorine and all that, because they are usually, the bond is very strong on the air pressure like this here on the ground here. The point is that when they release, they slowly go up to the atmosphere, right? When they reach stratosphere, especially in the South Pole and North Pole area, then you have ice particle. Then this chemical, they got bind to the ice particle, then the bond got weakened. The bond of this thing that cannot be separated, just like sodium. Sodium also have chlorine, not NaCl, right? Salt, right? NaCl, sodium and chlorine. There's a lot of chlorine. How come people are not worried about that chlorine that they worry about chlorine but because the bond is so strong, it could never be broken, right? Do you understand? So that's a big difference about chemistry. Then you go up there, the ozone story start like this is CFC. So you go up there, It breaks the bond, the chlorine will quickly destroy the ozone. That's the idea, right? By the way, they given Nobel Prize to this particular people that found this. It's completely unworthy because the science is very trivial. This is one of those politicization of science prize also, right? But that particular problem is so misleading and such a lie in the sense. Essentially, it's a lie because after you understand this fact, you will know that it is not very dangerous. It's just complete nonsense. Okay. So to understand that, so that's the idea that you have more using more refrigerator, that you release this carbon fluoride, this CFC, go to the atmosphere, then you destroy the ozone. That's what they say. But is that true? So they make it so inevitable. If we don't stop this chlorine going up there, we're going to die, isn't it? Because you create a hole, then all the UV coming in give everybody skin cancer, right? That's basically what they say. First of all, there's no evidence for skin cancer also, especially on studying all the animals, You don't have that. But
Really?
yes, not strong. Not strong at all. By the way, ozone hole doesn't make in a thick layer of air like, let's say, in the equator or even in Colorado. You don't get that. It is only in the cold condition where you can form this polar stratospheric cloud, the ice cloud, that have the ice particle that allow the bond of this CFC to break. So only in South Pole. It doesn't even make it in Arctic because it's not cold enough. Do you understand? And not only that, this is a phenomenon that is seasonal. It comes in when the sun from dark southern winter come to the spring, then start the sunshine to trigger reaction so that it happens. And then later it closes up again. So it's a seasonal phenomenon. There is a tiny, it's not a hole per se. It's just the layer is thinner with less ozone. Do you understand? So it's not zero ozone. It's like a hole. You see the hole? See, even using the word, it's hard to explain, right? It's just that it's an air. It's an air, but there's less oxygen, ozone in there, O3, right? The chemical. Instead of O2, oxygen that we breathe, right? O3. But the problem is this. They have misled everybody to focus on this chemical reaction that is so-called man-made, but they never ask how nature does this. Okay? And ozone is very, very simple. There are 90% of the world ozone is in 90%. It's in the stratosphere, the layer between, let's say, 10 miles or 10 kilometers to 40, 50, right? That layer. Then the lower layer is called troposphere. 10% of it is here, 90% of it is here. And of course, ozone in the troposphere, when you breathe, it actually causes the lung damage. That's not good. Okay? That's true. And so in the sense that less ozone isn't that good for the lung, but they don't talk about that. It's okay. But the problem is this. The one that focus you on destroying the ozone, they forgot to tell you that you can do this thought experiment. It's a famous Einstein thought experiment. It's called the Gandekan experiment. Thought experiment is no good if you don't have the answer, but you have the answer, definitive answer. So I ask you, just do this thought experiment, remove all the ozone in the whole world. Remove everything until there's nothing. Zero. Then you ask yourself a simple question. When would the ozone come back, if it come back at all, if you remove all of this? And then the question is that when would it come back? How fast, how slow, and all that? Is it 1,000,000 years? Is it 10,000 years? Is it even 100 years? Is it even 10 years? Is it even 1 year? Actually, it's not even all of that. It's 150 days. I think when you understand that, you will understand that it's impossible to destroy ozone. Do you understand? Because to make ozone is very simple. It's oxygen and one extra O, so they make O3. Yeah. But the O is made by the sunlight breaking the O2 into O. One free O quickly to another O2 that is not, so they combine. But that process of making that is so efficient and so fast that you don't even have time to worry about no ozone, because it's going to make back really quick. With or without CO2. But they focus you on that balloon. Remember the balloon? That all you need is poke that and that's it. Catastrophic. But crap is not even there. It's not there. It's fake. Do you understand? It's nothing to worry about. Then they created the whole world organization, Montreal Protocol 1987, because this has been used as the quintessential movement of humanity trying to save humanity from problem, and then agree to this agreement to ban ozone worldwide. Not ozone, CFC. It's such a tragic thing. If you look back in the history, you know what? You understand even more cynical and factual thing. It was the DuPont company who have produced this CFC 11 and 12 for almost, I would say, 40 years, maybe by that time. These are all chemical probably known in the 40s, after World War. The Germans are very good at making things like this. And then they run out of what you call the patent or whatever this right is. It's always about money, isn't it? Then it has to be freely available for everybody to use. So this is what they did. So they had to promote this thing is bad. And then they have to they add another hydrogen or fluorine to these CFC molecules to make it different names so that you can also use this for your refrigerant to change the formula so that you can use it. And then while you're talking about it, it's running out of this. And that's how crazy the world is.
Wow. So do you think that it's really it's about money, obviously. Otherwise we'd have the battery, we'd have these things, we wouldn't all be yelling at each other. But so is it like they're after like a one world order or what? I mean, I don't
know. That one is a bit, yeah, but I'm beginning to believe in all of that because it's crazy. The world
of doing this? What is the point of breeding all this fear into people to be
No,
scared?
there's a lot of evil forces, right? Like I say, the ozone thing was not supposed to be scary, but they turned into something so scary. So when you hear this, you hear about permafrost melting. Another one that I should tell you, but it's okay already, too long. Ocean acidification. Oh, another one. Everything. Polar bear disappearing. Panda bear, thank God I didn't study that, so it's okay. There's so many things. The polar bear one, I studied. I published 2 papers on this. I was contracted by Governor of Alaska, Sarah Palin, back then for us to do a little work. I did. Okay, we all got paid $3,333. We did get paid for that one, right? With my colleagues from University of Pennsylvania and all that. So we produced a report because they were using climate model forecast to say that the polar bear gonna die off if we don't reduce the carbon dioxide, or the ice gonna melt. It's all nonsense. Again, we examine the data and try to study the understanding, produce this and that. It's all not true. I wish they are true. At least they give them some legitimacy for once. I have looked at about 200 claims. I did not find 199. I find 200 of them are all false. There's not even one that is true. And so it's a very bad batting record for me, which means I would like to see something that they say is true. But these people are no good. They are just no good. You know what I mean? They ain't no good and they are really bad. And that's how it's a bit frustrating. I just wish that we would use our head, independent thinking more, not be afraid, not be bullied by them. And then they would have to answer to you if you are equipped with some of this question. You can ask them, right? And then, but believe me, the way they know how to manipulate sometimes is always using the status. I'm a scientist, you are not. So they try to shut you up. But if you were to be smarter than that, you will keep asking questions. That's why they would never want me to be anywhere of these things. Anywhere near all these things, right? I would never be anywhere near. Because they want to not let people hear me. They are so scared of me talking or anything that people hear this, even this interview, for example. They would be very scared. Oh, we shouldn't be hearing. I hope they don't censor your video. But they don't want to let people know.
It's easy to censor me because I'm not a big name. I've noticed this. It's very easy to censor somebody like me because they're like, oh, well, she's not popular. And so it's easy to make that social credit just seem like
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So they don't push my stuff out. But then like Tucker, for instance, your video has almost 1 million views. And
yes.
I know they tried to censor that because it said
yeah.
text and people couldn't share.
Oh, on Facebook, you cannot do on Snapchat, cannot do on Facebook. Yeah, I know that. Yeah.
But it still has almost 1 million. But it would have had a lot more.
Hey, may I give you the number on Twitter? It was 7 or 8 million.
See, and I believe that. And I bet it would have
been. It's big. That interview was the biggest one, yeah.
But they can't suppress him totally because it'd be obvious Tucker Carlson's not going to get 5 views. So they know they have to like kind of make it okay.
Yeah. Okay, I see.
It's absurd, isn't it? That they
No, but don't underestimate your own forces. We just have to keep going at it. Who knows, someday you go viral. Who knows, somebody will hear it, because you choose the right topic, the right person to have this proper discussion. Honest to God, they know that we're not for money, we're not for faking anything. We're here for the real stuff. Have an honest to God thing, and then if for example we say something that's wrong in here, come on, man, we'll correct ourselves, right? That's what it is, and that's what it's the truth is the most powerful thing we have. That they have nothing, they cannot stop this. You know what I mean? I always believe in that. If I don't, actually, I would be dead already by now, because it's just too depressing to even know that. Come on, man, what is this? You know what I mean? It's just not right. We all know right and wrong. Actually, right and wrong is a very easy thing. You can feel it. You can feel this thing. It's the real stuff. You know what I mean? What happened? Why can't we have an open discussion on any topics? Why can't?
Exactly what I think. And also, it's like, who has been just born and knew everything? Nobody. It's
Yes, yes.
maybe, but it's
Oh,
like
yeah.
nobody knows everything. So the fact that if we do say, like you said, we say something wrong, okay, then we learn some. What is the problem? Oh,
Yes.
they said something wrong in 1982. So what?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
Learn and evolve on the planet, and it's almost like we're not allowed to do that.
Right.
No, they're like you said in the last video with Tucker, it's like they're the authority. Who gave them the power to be the authority on everything? I don't understand it.
Right. So, well, in the way that we can make them irrelevant in some sense, because they have to learn that they cannot do this sort of thing to us, especially we're in United States of America. Anywhere else, CCP, I don't care. That one I kind of bad luck. But here, man, no, not in America, not under our U.S. Constitution. We cannot do that. You are not allowed.
Question for you about scientists, because that is your world. Do
Sure.
scientists ever debate things? I mean, is this just not allowed? Isn't that what science is all about? Is looking, here's the facts. Oh, wait, we just have new research. This is now the fact. I don't understand.
No, honestly, it's less and less this day. Less and less. It's true. It's also part of the woke culture. And then when you debate, let's say that if there's a woman on the other side or something, or person of not white skin, or I don't know, not white people or something, oh, you have to be extra sensitive to them. You cannot even discuss fact. I mean, come on. That is something that I don't believe in, I mean, you have a data, you bring it, I'm not offending you, you're not offending me. Let's do it. I'm actually an Asian looking guy, dude. I'm not a white dude. You know what I mean? So what? You can offend me all you want. You're not offending me if you bring some facts. You know what I mean? That's all, party. But the point is, it's less and less. No, scientists do require a lot of this. Like what you call you're self-checking and then let other people check. That's why there's a thing called peer review. But the problem in peer review is that because increasing quantity of science, it turned into peer review. So it's been already 30 years that I've been in this particular area of work. When you write paper, they always try to censor you. Even that is censored, right? Because they have a mechanism. In fact, they say it out loud. Those guys that belong to the United Nations Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, those guys deliberately say that they will censor people and then they won't cite your paper. For example, I have many papers cited by the IPCC, but those are in 1996 and 2001 report. Ever since then, it's all disappeared. Nothing changed. But because I increase in knowledge and increase in notoriety, all my results are getting more and more sharp conclusion. Because sometimes your work, it cannot be definitive at once. It's just sometimes you have to work at it. Now it's definitive. For example, in 2023, we published some very serious good paper. And then one of my journalist friend was able to ask the IPCC, why are you not citing their work? They say, but the irony was that our work are very well known by the co-chair of the IPCC. Do you understand? And he cited our work extremely positive because he knows this is important, good quality work. But they are not allowed to cite in the IPCC report. That's a good thing because we have proof. We demonstrate to the people. Easy, it's there, right? Unless you want to change history. And then one of the most crucial mistake in my view, according to them, is this. They say, oh, because these people didn't publish a report by let's say, a deadline, December 2021. But you have to remember what they just say is actually very, very interesting because IPCC, what it is, is being held by everybody to be the state of the art, the best of the best, the most comprehensive, this and that. The most comprehensive science just miss the most comprehensive work that we just published on this topic. That means they are not comprehensive. You just prove yourself wrong. I mean, it's so easy. That's why it's so cute for my friend who write for some of this newspaper like Epoch Time or something, because that's the only thing that would write about our work, because it's all censored, right? I could easily be on New York Times, but who cares? You know what I mean? New York Times is irrelevant now, right? Washington Post, all these things. Even Wall Street Journal, I don't like it that much anymore, because they are just so political, you know, in a sense. Always playing the game, playing side instead of just neutral for once. Just state the fact, let it go, let people decide. It's very easy. Why are you always have to take side and follow some narrative and this and that? Because there's a lot of money, financial interest at stake, I believe. But so it's that kind of thing. Scientists debate all the time because you always have to check yourself. You always, before you write any papers and this and that, you always debate. And even when you do the measurement, it doesn't mean that you've done it right. Sometimes your procedure is wrong. You got the result that you like. You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to check yourself, make sure you can repeat the experiment, make sure you can do it the same way again, and then it produces the same result, right? Those are called replication. You need to do that. There are many, many aspects of this science that is very well known. You don't even need to talk about it. But all of that, the important steps and guide rule of science has quickly disappeared, because I can tell you it's very scary actually. I can still remember, if it's only 10 years ago, when you go to a big meeting and conference and all that stuff. Like the latest one they have is American Geophysical Union in Washington, D.C. Those meetings are huge. They got like 30,000 people, okay, down there. It used to be that you go there, you have people that is still serious. Now, you get really like maybe 1/3 of those are all zombie, always global warming, they're always global warming, this and that. And these are so-called scientists without even looking at the data. And that's how scary they are.
Well, and also the weaponization of science.
Yes, using science as a tool to scare people.
No, science. We believe in science. It's like, doesn't everybody believe in science? I don't. When
yeah.
Not a belief. It's a way. It's a method, right? It's a way.
Yeah. It's a method. It's a method of inquiry. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not. You don't believe. It's like, what are you talking about? Now the Democrats own science. What? How did that happen?
Oh, they love to use that. It's not Republican science, not science. They just do mouthpiece. I mean, it's just dangerous. For example, another one that irritates me today is this person by the name of Catherine Hayhoe. She's a professor at Texas Christian University. Yeah, something like that. She on the net today again being preached as the guru of this and that. By the way, she doesn't do much on. Really didn't even do any original science work. Their science work are so weak that it's embarrassing for them to call themselves experts sometimes. But they are the mouthpiece. They are very good at putting narrative. For example, she say, "Oh, we already have 30 million climate refugee." That is a very interesting claim. All we need to ask her is that, please show me where are the 30 million climate refugees. Please give me where are they? What is their faces? In fact, take a record of every one of them. I want to see who they are. Where are they? Right? You cannot just make claim like that. It's all some arbitrary thing that, just because she said it's going to be fact. No. Science doesn't work like that. Even when you make a claim, you better back it up. These people have no credibility. That's the problem. And then they gain credibility because Al Gore, Obama, for example, interview her, have a conversation with her, Catherine Hayhoe, with Obama. You should look it up. With him and then I think Leonardo DiCaprio or something. 3 of them. Yeah. Leo is another one of the amazing nonsense, that guy.
He's a mess. What is it? So these people are just bought and paid for? They're spokespeople?
They probably believe in it, but then they are so misguided. They are not willing to listen to any other counter evidence, other counter facts, counter evidence, and all that stuff. By the way, they clearly don't have any authority. This is why they're so desperate, right? Year after year, they have to come up with different terms, global boiling and all that stuff, to scare people, climate refugee, this and that. Every of that notion is not true. like pull her back on the die off, and then all the corals in the sea because the ocean is boiling, so everything is dying, this and that. Ocean prefer warm ocean. The coral love warm ocean. Actually, it's the opposite. There are so many things that say it's actually projection, projection, projection. And then it's all this half truth and half lies that is the problem, right? Never about the full truth. They always, I always say to everybody, it's a very simple equation. Al Gore always put up half truth plus half truth is equal to what? It's actually lie. You know, when you give everything up, it's just nothing. Ended up nothing. It's that simple equation, and they are very good at manipulating that. They use that persuasive art. By the way, science is also not seeking persuasion. It's not about persuasion. It's about factual thing that you can show and prove and repeat. You understand? You have to repeat. Even when they say 30 million, right? Let's say she come up with a methodology. I would systematically follow the methodologies that she claimed, and I'm assure you that I will not be able to find the 30 million. Not that I don't want to see it. It will not work out because these people, they build their foundation on lies and build a narrative that is have nothing to do with science, nothing to do with facts. This is how confident I am. I told you I have examined 200 of them. I haven't found 199 to be wrong, and 200 is wrong. That's serious. They better have one. They have none. And that tells you that, okay, it's a bit of a crazy thing, right? To keep doing this.
Well, and
I don't know. I think that we just have to keep talking about this.
What about Greta Thunberg and people like that?
Oh, she is a very sad case. Very sad case. Her history is very, very strange. I actually study her history very carefully, independently from what people say. She is a product of this. By the way, it is connected to Al Gore. Yeah, Al Gore have another group of people that trying to build her up, and then they say accidentally in some years that she just sit in the parliament and protesting. All build up narrative, all untruth. It's her mother's book is coming out. Her mother's book, Marlene something. She's an opera singer. Sorry for the name similar. But her mother's name is, you should look her up, her mother. By the way, her father is the great ascendant from Svante Arrhenius, which is the person that claimed credit to kind of discover CO2, greenhouse effect. Yeah, because Svante Arrhenius won a Nobel Prize in chemistry in 1896 or something, very early on chemistry of salt, actually. Yeah, ionic bond and things like that. And by the way, people don't read the detail. They just use the mouthpiece and saying like that. If you read carefully, Svante Arrhenius say that, oh, this global warming is a good thing. It's actually making places like in Norway and Sweden less cold. You know what I mean? It's going to be enhanced life and things like that. People don't realize about that. They use the mouthpiece, or he discovers, as if that he discovered global warming, right? It's completely different context. The guy from 19th century is very different. They have different sentiment. They probably don't believe in this new stuff about all this, different kind of form of sex is not a binary, is a spectrum, nonsense, right? I mean, things like that, right? So yeah, Greta is from that kind of build. It's very sad because she was completely a made-up character. You making use of an autistic, girl that is actually make her not focus, and then wasted so much resources. The stunt she pulled by taking the sailboat from England, Liverpool, somewhere there to come to US, New York. Oh my God, it was full of fanfare. I don't know if you recall, I watched that. The arriving, there was all the TV screen filming her coming to Statue of Liberty, this and that. Oh my God. The amount of trouble she has caused is just enormous, actually. It was it cannot be forgiven. This is very bad stunt. A person that is already mentally not well get pushed into this limelight. She clearly had the attention that she thought these things are bad. But now, by the way, she jumped into a new different movement, right? It's fighting for the Palestinian cause and all this other stuff already. She kind of do less and less of this climate protest, all right? And then just completely make use of her. I think there are make use of her. By now she's over 18, so I guess she's also should be self-reflecting, be able to be conscious of herself and find her role and place in life. Yeah. And it's ridiculous. By the way, she edited the book. She edited a book with almost like 200 authors. Many of the famous people like Catherine Hayhoe, Michael Mann. I'm sure you know about that, Michael Mann. That guy, the hockey stick guy. They all contributed a little chapter to that book. That is not a book. That is just a collection of garbage. I mean, it's a garbage thing. What is this? And then a book that don't allow people to challenge and it's all factual thing. Oh no. These are the book that just a propaganda, basically. Just a propaganda leaflet. They think that we expect to do that. By the way, those kind of book, I don't even know even anybody read them, right? It's just weird stuff. Oh, you call that a book? Nobody read it. You're writing for yourself. I mean, they're really strange.
They've gotten so popular, this group, but I think it's changing. I think it's changing, and people are going, even people who bought into that are going, wait a minute, this has gotten out of hand. What do you think is going to happen in the next couple of years? Do you think that it's going to calm down a little bit? Do you think they're going to have a new variation out that everybody's going to be worried about?
No, they will always come out with something else because they have tried many ways. They will try even more because it's very hard to bring down this belief because again, it's like what Crichton say, it's almost like a form of religion. We just hope that they become a minority. That's the only way to kill this beast, this hydra. It's just one head chop, another head come out. They have many of these sleeves. We already see they have many problems. If you look at the evolution of the problem, first is talking about CO2 causing global warming. And then when they measure the globe cannot show to be warm evenly. They started to change stuff, right? Then they introduce a problem. Oh, they say the reason, by the way, there's an actual prediction that if you warm, it should be warm much more than we measure. So, you know what they did? Then they introduced aerosol. They say aerosol cool, so therefore they use that as fast feeding. Science, if you are good, you just predict straight on, you don't change. They keep changing the story. Yeah, you heard one of the most famous thing is about the end doomsday scenario every few years. I mean, Al Gore must have said that the ice all disappeared 2012 in 2017, 2007, say 2012. Now they keep changing it. Many more things. All the glaciers, by the way, Glacier National Park, more nearer to where you are, they put out a sign, the USGS, the DOI, Department of Interior, those guys. I think your mother know a lot of them. Bad guy. Bruce Babbitt. Don't mention Bruce Babbitt to Ronnie. but those guys have a sign saying, oh, all the glacier will disappear. But then when the glacier didn't go away, they take away the sign. That happened last year? They did. They took away the sign. They put the sign. Oh, so authoritative. Oh, because the scientists predicted that all the glacier and Glacier National Park going to disappear. Right? When they don't, they move away the sign. That was documented because the sign's been sitting there for a few years. People notice. You know what I mean? People are not exactly dumb. You know what I mean? What are you talking about, man? And then many more things. They talk about all this thing, all nonsense. Oh, Maldives. Maldives is the most famous one. The island off a coast, west coast of India. That is the most vacation, beautiful, Club Med, dude. Enjoy. Building more airports. More tourists coming. They're supposed to be swarmed by the ocean, right? Completely sea level change. Nonsense, you know what I mean? That was a famous, since you are talking to popular audience, I like to mention this one is so funny. I don't hear too many of this joke about climate change, but there was one comedian, very brilliant. He come to the Heartland Institute meeting, one of the early one, 2008 or 2009 in New York City. He said that, if the sea level rise, okay, if it's rising, okay, in about 6 inches or even 4 inches in 100 years and you don't know how to move back, you deserve to die. You're so dumb. That was funny because that's basically the rate. Even if it's like 12 inches, okay, you don't know how to move back, you should die. But it's crazy stuff. And then they try to manipulate, by the way, in all this they manipulate. Oh, they say the rate of change is so exceptional, this and that. All of it not true. All of it. They always try to say, if the global warming don't get you, they say it's the rate of change that is alarming. It's completely not true. By the way, 2003 and 2004, this year, we proved, in fact, my chapter that appeared in Heritage Foundation this week, show definitively, you can put that for people to read if they want, because it's important. We prove definitively that most of the temperature curve that they say warming, it's all nothing to do with any actual climate. It's related to urban heat island effect. That's the problem. So we have show
for the last 5 years, we published consistently, step by step, showing what the problem is. And this has been very, what you call, scary for them. But it's good because science more is known, right? We explain how they do this, how they manipulate. Because everything that they can produce in their curve, I can produce, which means I replicate everything. And then I show them, here's the alternative. Because they are using thermometer data that is dominated by urban island, urban cities, and that is not measurement of climate change, actually. So we show that if you want to study climate, you use the rural station, right? And we show that the rural station is different from this station that have the urban city, and they should get rid of it. They don't. This is the one that is going to very hard for them to fall down, because in the sense that after 30 some years of working on this, we finally produce something very definitive. That's why I'm a bit like wanting more people to know about this, because when you don't have the sure answer, it's kind of not good to talk about it also, in the sense that it's not nice to talk too much also, right? Because speculation is speculation. You don't want to also have a wishy-washy answer. But this time we really have it. By now, thank God, after some 34 years, I've done something. I can be somebody now. Just kidding. But it's a very crazy thing. It's a long-term persistent that we're carefully working on this. It's a beautiful kind of a piece of work, that all the puzzle, is no guarantee. By the way, we never seek to get the answer. We just keep collecting, keep studying, keep seeing how it evolves and what if it is. And then you kick around 10,000 times to see, make sure that it's still there. It's there. So this is why I think that the chapter that we wrote for the Heritage Foundation, Special Report 305, that's a very special number. Go look it up. And it's it's our best attempt to write in a layman language, because it's so hard to explain this. People will fall asleep, but please read them, because you have to equip yourself with the knowledge, or else when you go there, you get bullied again. They will bully you, this and that, and this and that. But you say, no. Let's take a look at this particular thing, because that's when we can really confront them with the real data, real science, and then, oh, please, by all means, if you find anything wrong with this thing, please tell them. Please tell those scientists, and they will correct themselves, no problem. But I tell you, this is so airtight that let them find a problem. Let's see, and it will be very interesting.
What do we look up?
I send you the link, and please use the link somewhere. But it is in Heritage Foundation. It's their webpage is so big. They have covered so many topics. But you can find the link at the Heritage Foundation. Yeah, it's Special Report 305 on climate. Yeah, under climate. And the reason why I do that also, because I was hoping that Tucker will pay some attention, because his first job is at the Heritage Foundation. His first paid job after his Grateful Dead concert.
Tucker, did you guys know each other, or how did
No, not at all. In fact, when he first called me, I have to call out another friend of mine named Joe Bastardi. Joe Bastardi went on his show before. Hey, Joe, is these the same people? I mean, I'm pinching myself. Is that real? Yeah, it is. Okay, yeah, go ahead. At first, I told my friend, oh, no, this could be a hoax. No way. But anyway, then it turns out to be very nice. Yeah. Anyway, I kind of want to contact this Tucker people, because there are a few things that he wants to do for me, because I'm passionate, just like I'm passionate about one particular camp that we have a lot of children that we try to teach them. It's called Camp Constitution. The reason why I mention them is very, very important. So if everybody look up Camp Constitution, fullword.net, you will find a lot of information. The reason why I mentioned that is that we are a small little group. But you know what's so special about our group? We were able to beat the city of Boston bullies.
Wow.
All the way in Supreme Court. 9-0 we won.
Wow, good job.
9-0, unanimous. In 2022, we win that case. From 2017, we were trying to raise a flag in the public poll in the city of Boston, where they raised the rainbow flag, they raised the communist flag, they play any flag is possible, except for the Christian flag. They say separation of church and state. Big mistake, because the Constitution is Bible-based. Anyway, so we fought all the way. They bully us in the state of Massachusetts. We fought in all the courts, Superior Court, and the Supreme Court of the Massachusetts say that, oh, city of Boston is right. Okay, it's playing bully, because it's the city, it's the mayor, city word. And then, of course, Supreme Court, when they go there, they ask them, why are you guys so foolish? Why are you doing this? Even when you hear Justice Kagan or all these people asking Sotomayor, asking the lawyer of a city of Boston, it's embarrassing, by the way. They really thought that they can bully small little group. It's really a group that is so small, and we beat them black and blue. Really, it's so beautiful. It's another beautiful story to tell you that do not underestimate yourself. As long as you do the right thing, we did the right thing. That's the reason, and we didn't give up. We could have give up, right? So I've been going to the camp since isn't my kid that we've been going there for many years since 2017. We keep going until now. So Tucker promised to come so to help us. Now people know about camp constitution because we teach students indeed camp constitution. You know,
Yeah.
we teach them Bible, we teach them science. I'm the science instructor. So it's been very rewarding in a sense that to see young kids glowing up. You know, glow, the mind. Tick, 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 tick. You see the light bulb turn on is the best. That's the best feeling.
Let me ask you this. I could talk to you all night, but I want to also be
Yeah. I think it's almost, yeah.
I know you have to get going. Let me ask you this last question because this comes up a lot, and I'm always curious about this too. I've had arguments, but in a very layman way because I'm not a scientist, but from my own personal understanding, some people say God and science don't exist. I say God is science. God created this. So
Yeah.
what is your argument?
Yeah,
on-
my view is exactly God is mysterious, but God clearly created science. Science is part of God. And then really, I mean, in the sense that science is not God. That's a distinction that is very clear. God created science. Yes, that's a statement that I felt very comfortable with. During the interview with Tucker, I was trying to express myself in a very different tangential way to try to talk about many, many moments in science, especially in the form that we call mathematics and physics, because the richness of mathematics is even bigger, right? But then always, always, in some of those mathematics, there is a connection to the real world, which is expressed in physics, chemistry, and all that stuff. And it's like almost like a tunnel, there's a way in which God channel these things. God is also mathematics, by the way. It's not just science. Mathematics is the queen of all sciences, right? It's a really very, very deep because the richness of it is just amazing. The boundary is not just the physical universe. It's in fact it's in fact even bigger than what we can imagine. It's closer to the mind of God, mathematics. I like mathematics very much because it is the one that you have definitive answer. There are a lot of things that you can have some concrete things. It's not open-ended. If you can prove it, that's it. You proved it. You know what I mean? You want to prove that the largest prime number doesn't exist, this and that. You can do all the answer this basic question. Through many, many approach, you come through it and then you get an answer. Yeah. We are actually, to me, life is all about trying to understand God better and then to be closer to God. And then the mind of God is ever more complete. There's no loop or holes or anywhere. It fill up all the spaces and time and possible that is in there. Yeah, God is the ultimate, obviously. And then a lot of people are trying to, of course, very shy away from that in the sense that I think it's full of their own impression that they can be disentangled from God. That is a misconception. I think a lot of people understand trying to make science separate. It just completely make no sense or whatsoever because there are many more features that you just simply cannot explain with science. This science is just not complete at all. So, you can even use the mathematical expression. You look for the largest set possible. The infinity of infinity, because even infinity in mathematics, we know how to separate one kind of infinity and another kind of infinity, because all you need to do is add one or subtract one, isn't it? Right? So this infinity is bigger than that infinity. You understand? So God is the infinity of infinity. Yeah. Something ever powerful. Yeah, I know. I love it in that sense. And it's a beauty, it's all of it.
Everything came from Earth, right? My daughter was like, "Well, this didn't." I said, "Well, yeah, it did. The computer, it came."
Yeah, it's all came from. Yeah, exactly. It's sand, silica. Or the most important thing is that every time you go to the beach, pick up a sand. This is the computer.
I know, it's so crazy.
It's sand, it's silicon. Yeah.
It's amazing. So one last thing, I think some people sometimes get confused when I've even talked to some people about global warming and saying that I've spoken with you, and they're like, no, that's a hoax. And then they immediately think that you don't care about the earth. And I said, no, that's not.
Oh yeah, no, that's nonsense. Yeah.
So what would your message be about how can we care for the earth and how those are different? It's like apples and oranges. Like you care for the earth doesn't mean that you're going to believe in a thing that isn't real.
Oh, simple answer. You fulfill God's mission, and God set a role for all of us. We all were born in certain different ways, but then when God knew that the day we were born, we were bound to do certain things. Like I was bound to do some science. You were born to do this and do that. Your mom is to take care of cow and take care of all these things, ranchers and this and that. There are many. We all have our different roles. Some people were born to I don't know, do many more things, creative stuff, mathematician, artists, or even wandering around the whole planets, things like that. That we are all given a role already, really, and you just have to find your own path. And then the most important thing is maximize the full potential. I mean, he really doesn't want us to hold back anything. And then fear nothing except God. Because once you have fear, they put a lot of fear ever since we were a little kid into us. It's a very unhealthy thing. They put a lot of fear on us so that we are kind of more restricted. And you free your mind by exactly fulfill the mission of God. Just free, not be so afraid. For example, a very simple example. I see many, many sad situations during COVID-19. Many of my doctor's friends lost their income, this and that. They got, yeah, and the good case is another friend of mine from Australia, Sydney. All she did was treat a patient when they were still allowed to use ivermectin, but they're trying to get rid of her license, medical license, right? She hasn't had income for 3 years and a half and still fighting them. Okay. But God has a role for her. She knows she's the believer, and she really felt that this is the thing that she must do. And don't be afraid, because a lot of people, oh no, I cannot. I have to take care of my kids. This, yes, all of us have to take care of our kid, but don't lose faith. Don't be afraid, because if I were to be afraid, by the way, like I just told another friend, man, I could have been I could be bigger than Fauci. I just keep telling Fauci, oh, this guy, you're nothing. I'll be bigger than you. I'll be Albert Einstein #3. Just kidding. I'll be taking care of business. But the point is that, the structure has becoming so bad. Even our nation advisory for science, National Academy of Science, is so corrupted. They call themselves National Academy of Science, but they don't stand up for science. So if they were to invite me into their membership, which obviously it would not happen, but even if, hypothetical, then I say, would you like to kiss my feet, maybe my butt over here? Then I will say, no, thank you. Because you know why? Well, as long as you don't stand for science and you did not, you failed us many, many times. All of you failed us many times. Our institution is humanity, is human. Children of God. We're not going to be afraid of all of you, because we are mightier, because our belief in God, and we believe in our mission that God set for us. I'm sorry I have to keep going, God, because I tell you, I find nothing more comforting than actually knowing God a little bit more, and then at peace. I have my peace already. I really have my peace. I do not want to fight for fame, fortune, and any of this thing. All this transient, comfortable thing, it means nothing to me. Yeah, of course, it's nice to fly first class, this and that, but I never flew first class. So what? You stick with a bunch of people. Of course, public transport is the most obvious example of humanity that's very tough to handle. So that's why I love my freedom, my individual freedom. I need to drive my car.
That was such a beautiful message. And that's exactly why I started talking about this stuff, because I had been quiet so long thinking that I needed to, and that was more peaceful. And then I started getting closer to God, and God's like, you're going to talk about this. And I said, me? I'm not me. I can't.
No, it's you. It's all of us. Everybody.
Yeah,
everybody. Don't be afraid. I know it can be tough. I understand it's so tough. But too many people also kind of shy away and this and that. And then they say, oh, thank you for doing that. I say, no, but just join the mission, please. Every soldier that we can accumulate and that we can recruit to our group of fighting for God, I mean, it's the most pleasurable thing that we can do, because it's really that through that kind of strength. Our commonality is, of course, the belief in God, and then the central message that He is the ultimate God, ultimate judgment,
ultimate guide for all of us to visualize, to fulfill this supreme beauty, right? You can find it in anything you want, even a tiny piece of grain of salt. You can look at it carefully, a flower or anything, a bird, or all this other creation. This is amazing, actually.
It is
Yep.
amazing. You're amazing. I could talk to you forever. I learned so much from you. I mean,
Okay.
really, and I feel like you're my brother because my mom always says you're my
We are
brother.
born the same age. We are born the same birthday. Remember, don't forget. Don't tell people. We
We
had the
are?
same birthday. Yes.
You're so
Yes. Yeah, 30 like you. Yes. You didn't know that. I knew that long ago because your mom told me.
Oh my goodness. Well, we have
Yes.
to get together again. I
I'm
mean,
just telling you. Yes, there are something about this.
this was so great. I swear I could talk to you forever because I learned so much from you, but it would
Yeah,
be
yeah.
so fun. You got to come to the farm and visit.
Yeah.
Yeah, come to
Very
the farm.
nice.
Thank
Thank you, Leah.
Dr.
Thank you.
Willie Soon. Excuse me.
No. Thank you. Very
Thank
good.
you.
Have
Have
a
a
good night.
I'll
Thank you.
talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.